Man, good day to everybody. Hope everybody's day is going well. I'm in my backyard taking a little break. Shout out to everybody who work from home, working in their office, all the people who are first responders and everything, because the COVID ain't went nowhere. I think different things that are going on in society might make us, tend to relax or lay down, but we see these athletes getting sick. We see, other athletes deciding to not do their job or participate in their sport because of it. So just want to shout them out. Just was sitting here doing some work with my son. We doing, technical work. And I've heard a lot of coaches say different things in relations to he trains this guy wrong or this coach trains this guy wrong. That wouldn't work against my fighter, or I wouldn't teach my fighter to do that. I say this. Hey, good morning, Aunt Natalie. Hey, the boys got those envelopes. They already send you their pictures, and appreciate it, and they appreciate it. Text me your number too, Aunt Natalie, so they can call you. When you coaching a fighter, anybody, even the worst coach in the world, can coach talent. Talent covers a multitude of discrepancies. When a fighter does something wrong, but he's talented, he can get away with it and make a bad coach look like a great coach. But that's because the kid got talent, not because the coach hasn't taught him or not taught him, eradicated his bad habits. I see a lot of different coaches who do things that I wouldn't do, but it works for them. So I consider them good coaches. It's coaches that see stuff that I do that don't like the way I do it. I beat their fighters. They've had wins against me and my son. When you coach this sport, especially when you start getting to the pro level, I think in the amateur level, you better know who the officials are. Because if you know who they are, you almost can direct your kid how to fight based on who's officiating, because each official likes to see different stuff. It's super that way at the amateur level. In the pro game, I think you master what your fighter is good at. I've seen some fighters who I think technically are awful, but when they do their thing their way and they do it the best they can, and their coaches have mastered what you consider bad. It's like he mastered all his bad stuff to make him good at it. Then it's hard to beat him. When I look at my son, I try to take everything that he does and make it as perfect as he can do it. There's certain things that are naturally instinctive in every person that makes them do things a certain way. And I don't think you can take the instinct out of it. I think what you can do is get them to the point where they've mastered their imperfections. And in doing so, they can turn a negative to a positive. When you look around the landscape of boxing, I remember at one time you had the WBC, WBA, and the IBF. That was primarily it. You had one of those three belts, you was a champion. If you unified, you were undisputed, you were the best out there at your division. But now they have IBO, NABF, NABO, you got a lot of belts. The WBC Silver, WBC Youth. It's easy to get them to a belt, but if you're trying to get them to one of those major belts, I think you gotta perfect your own fighter. If my fighter is super awkward, I want to perfect his super awkwardness and make him the best at what he does awkward, instead of trying to weed his awkwardness out of him. One of the most awkward fighters I ever saw, but I thought he could rumble, Murky Sosa. Murky Sosa just looked awkward. He looked knocked, pigeon-toed, everything. But it seemed like the coaches that Murky Sosa had, they perfected his imperfection to the point where it worked for him. You know, I see as far as he got. I see the level of competition. There's guys that I thought were better fighters that never got nowhere near where Murky Sosa got to. But I thought they were better quality fighters. I know I listened to a lot of the commentary, so to speak, that Coach Fox put up, Tez and Mikey father. And look at their careers. I saw them fight as kids, and I thought Tez was going to be something to deal with, and he is. He's a good fighter. I never thought Mikey was that good a fighter when I was on the fighting side, but now on the coaching side, I can really take my hat off that his father has perfected what I thought were imperfections. He's perfected them. Mikey does a lot of good stuff that I actually have grown to like. And that was from getting opportunities to spar with him with my son. Like, man, Mikey do this good. Mikey do that good. I think Mikey is perfect in the personification of his name, the professor. Mikey mentally breaks stuff down. Mikey looks at stuff and says, okay, how do I do this? Not the way he did it, but the way it works best for me. And it comes from the way their father trained him. Tez, big old strong young boy. I think his thing is he's so big for his division, it'll be hard to get him the opportunity that I think he's earned and deserved, even with a loss. That I think when he gets in the right situation, he'll get his opportunity. When I look at coaches like Daryl Tyson, I think Daryl Tyson is a great coach. I have no knock on Daryl because Daryl he teach the youngest like he taking them to school. And when I say taking them to school, he don't care if they become pros, if they become great or champions. He care that they safe when they come out of there. So that to me makes him a good coach. One of my favorite individual coaches, Freddie Roach. I think Freddie Roach a hell of a coach. I think Freddie Roach does more with less than other coaches do with more. I think my combination of coaches that I like, Lou Duva and Georgie Benton. I think that those two, when they were coaching together, they were like the perfect marriage, husband and wife, who was teaching their kids two different ways, but the same concept of how we gonna win, and they knew how to step up and take the back seat when it came to situations of coaching. Go look at Pernell Whitaker versus Buddy McGirt, the second fight. Look at how when they showed the corner, it was times when Georgie Benton was stepping up, giving instruction. It was times when Lou Duva stepped up and gave instruction. It's just like they was a perfect merge. That's one of the reasons why I like working with Andrew Council. Me and Andrew, I tell Andrew all the time, we like Lou Duva and Georgie Benton. We can work together in almost any situation, even when it get like kind of hectic and crazy. We still have been able to work together to, the betterment of the fighter. When it comes to some of the coaches that I've watched over the years, because I've learned a lot from a lot of coaches. Anything that a boxing coach says he invented, created, that's all me. That's fabrication. This combat has been around for centuries. You may have learned it and instilled it a different way, but combat been here for centuries. Next round. I think I learned the art of the game, of how to get your fighter to feed into what you want to do. I can definitely say I learned that from Gary Russell Sr. He has a way of getting your fighter to feed in to what you want to do the way he wants to do it. I think being able to motivate a fighter in a situation where I got to get him to give me a little more, I say I get at the Barry Hunter. Barry Hunter, he can motivate you to do more when I think that you're either beaten or on the back end than a lot of other coaches. I look at him as a motivator. When it comes to, I think, the tactical part of the game, I could say I think one of the most tactical coaches I've ever seen, and this is more recent than over a lifetime. Those two, although the first one of recent when it comes to tactics would have to be Lomachenko's dad. His dad, I think, if his son is high tech, and he is, then I have to say that his dad is the technician. He is the tactician. He actually is the game planner. And I like to use that reference because I think when it comes to coaching for me personally, I'm more the guy that's the game planner. If I can sit back and study who I have to fight, I think I can come up with the game plan to beat him if the fighter feeds into it. That's why anytime my son is lost, I take full responsibility for it, except for one time when he fought as an amateur when he wasn't listening to nothing I had to say. But every other time, I take full responsibility for the loss because there was a flaw in the carrying out of the program. The plan had a flaw. And when I go back and look, I see the flaw when it happened. Sometimes I'm just bullheaded and stuck into the program, but I saw the flaw. So that's something that I learned from being able to watch Lomachenko's dad. If you remember when Lomachenko got put on his butt in that corner, his dad just made little minor adjustments. He told him, hey, step over here, throw the same punch, be right here, give him a little more movement this way or that way. That was what I took from that. Being calm in the corner, I think the calmness of a corner has been distributed or been instilled with me when you watch Floyd Mayweather and his uncle and his father. They're so calm in the corner. It's like a conversation going on, and you notice that they don't have to use that 1 minute to calm Floyd down, get his breathing back under control, not be erratic, because they keep that calmness flowing the whole way. You know, and I think that makes his father be able to give him instruction and Floyd be able to relax. I've seen him in the corner sitting up. You know, most fighters want to kick their legs out, lean back against the ring apron corner, and take deep breaths. I seen Floyd sitting up like he want to hop off the chair and ask his father, what round is this? Give me a little water. What does this look like? That's that calmness that I think has to be there. When I look at some of the other coaches that I've seen do great stuff, I'm going to tell you this. Not until I had the opportunity to take my son to camp with Gervonta Davis did I realize how good of a coach, and I knew he was good before, but how good of a coach Coach Calvin is. Coach Calvin, bad man. He bad man. I could tell you it was instances where he would tell me, put Jalil on the press, send him at Tank. And he would tell Tank, why are you getting excited? Act like the amateurs, have fun. And Tank would be in there salsa dancing while the round going on. Because he saw the value of keeping him calm, even when he wanted the utmost fire coming at him. So that's another coach that I seen. When I talk about coaches who do the flip side, taking little, and little is not to belittle a fighter, but not the superstar talent and getting it to a superstar level. You got Coach Ernesto, I got to tip my hat to him because he got Jared to a point where Jared was a world champion. He got Jared to a point where I wanted to see Jared fight the Charlos. He got Jared to the point where I still think Eslande Lara is one of the best technical boxers I've ever seen. He beat him up. You know, I got to respect when a man does that. And in the amateurs, Jared wasn't the guy that was at the U.S. Nationals going away to fight other countries and all that. He was a workhorse, a workman style guy that put his work in. But he got a lot out of him. When I look at other development coaches, hey, Miss Charlene, you ain't even let me get my whole thing out. I'm coming down my list. But since she said, Kenny Ellis, I'll jump ahead of my conversation. I think Coach Kenny is one of the most honest, at any point in time, coaches I have ever seen. And for me, that is the best thing you can say about a coach. Because if a coach is willing to tell you the truth right when you're making those heinous fuck-ups that fighters make, including my son, heinous fuck-ups that they know better than to do, then ain't no need in waiting until a later time and tell them. Tell their ass right then. And that's what I love about Coach Kenny. That's what I love about what he's doing with his daughter, Killer B, Mia. And that's how he's getting the best out of her. Because he doesn't pull punches. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. You look like some shit, Kenny gonna tell you look like some shit. If you need to improve on a particular punch, I've seen Kenny stop sparring and say, bro, why you keep giving him the right hand when that's your bread and butter and your jab and your body shot ain't looking good? Work on that. Those are things that I consider in a great coach. I've had the chance to have my son spar with Malik Hawkins. That's my guy. Everybody know that. That's my guy. And I've seen Coach Kenny change up the whole philosophy of sparring. Stop around in the middle of the round, say, man, you getting ready for a fight. Why am I not seeing the game plan work? Man, we spawned against a different guy. The guy don't change. We working on a game plan. He makes training camp exactly what it is. Training camp. Learning in camp. The concept of the word training. Training is to make better on a quality you wish to achieve. And he does that. So I definitely want to say from him. And let me tell you some out-of-town coaches that I think some bad coaches. Coach Rubio down in Miami. Love that dude, man. He brought us down to Miami to train and work with some of his guys. And he showed no bias. It was like, hey, man, I wanted to see this kid do what he do. I like the way he looked. I 100% praise Coach Rubio down in Miami. Bad man. Buddy McGirt. Buddy, people don't even know. My son went to Vegas to train. No, went to Vegas to fight in the Junior Golden Gloves for the first time. I was unable to go. He went with the team from New Jersey. Shout out to that whole little Jersey clique. I messed with them dudes. Dwight, Muhammad, O, Vito, the whole little crew of them. Those are my guys. Buddy worked his corner and did an outstanding job. And not outstanding because he won the championship. Outstanding because he looked how he was supposed to look, winning the championship, fighting every night in the tournament against taller guys. Buddy McGirt is a badass coach. He is one of the better people you will see do this with kids, with adults. Think of some other good ones, man. Who's some other good ones that we done dealt with, especially out of town? Matt Moscada and his son.
The Garcias.
Yeah, the Garcias. Man, they vicious. And you see the manifestation of what they doing on the coaching side.
The whole Arate family.
Yeah, that whole Arate family. They can fight. Their
dad, he good with adjustments.
Yeah, their dad do make good adjustments. I remember we seen them fight before they got in the ring. The son was like, Jill, I'm about to put it on him. The father was like, why are you talking? Focus on what you got to do. That's what a coach do. Get you back focused. Man. It's a lot of them. Out LA, I like their style. That LA style of the, trying to bring the
Coach Mike Stafford.
Yeah, Coach Mike good. That's my man. I fuck with Coach Mike. Good coach. Shit, it's so many, man. It's just numerous. It's coaches that you don't even know.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Coach O, Ohio, that's my man. I think his daughter is one of the most dominant women I've ever seen put a pair of gloves on. I swear I love watching this girl. When we was at tournaments and I knew she was going to fight, I wouldn't go back to my hotel until after she fought. Because she was dominant to a different level with her fight. So, yeah, I got to mention them. I can't forget them.
What's her name?
Well,
Can't think of his name.
oh, shit, I'm going to tell you. What's the youngin that beat you in the Nationals last time? You fought him twice.
Arate.
Joel, yeah.
That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
Joe, man, good gracious, man. Hey, man, I think the first time, I think we won, but we take the losses like we do, because that's what you learn from. Shout out to Joe and his people. But the second time, I think it was a good fight between both fighters, and he got the nod. No problem with me saying I don't have a problem with a loss. We lose, we lose. Such is life. Who cares? I'm not one of those guys that's going to belabor I lost because I think I got robbed. And I have said it when I felt that way. But when I've lost, I've shook the hand and said, hey, man, move on. We fought Delma Zamora. Had the bad shoulder and everything. But we made zero excuse. You never heard us say the excuse was a bad shoulder. It was his night. I asked my son before we went to the tournament, do you want to go? Your shoulder hurt. And he said, I want to go. I said, okay. If you win 3 nights in a 5-night tournament, you can't tell me on night 4 if you lost that my shoulder beat me. That ain't. And I'm sitting out here with my son. I'm sitting out here with him. Yeah, I don't say that. Hey, Miss Charlene, you about to be a boxing coach or something, man? You know every coach. We gonna have to sit down with you one day when I go on live and talk to you about who you think is who in boxing. Miss Charlene, that's the mother of my guy. Always gotta shout her out. Yeah, look at Jaleel talking about Iceman. Look, he always gotta get on my stuff. I know that's your guy. I know Malik's your guy. Talking about Iceman. What's up, Spriggs? My man Spriggs, he always got all the update commentary. He'll call me. We had more boxing discussions than a little bit. My man Larry Bow on here. Man, Larry is one of the biggest supporters of my son. Shout out to him. That's my guy all the time. Man, look, when we turn over this pro thing, I'm going to make sure my son autographs some gloves and shoot them to you. Because, like I said, you have been 100% supportive of him the whole way through. I can't even lie. Spriggs, you coolin'. Tell me something on boxing, Spriggs. Tell me what your thoughts is of what I said, that there's no bad coaches and there's no bad fighters, especially if you worked your fighter to the point where he got to a title. Man, Spriggs, we got everything in the backyard. We got the flat bench, we got the treadmill, we got the exercise bike, we got the pull-up bar. My complete backyard is paved out. I got pavers all over my yard, so we got plenty of room to shadow box. Man, we gonna get it in by hook or by crook, Jack. I tell you all the time, we the special forces of this thing. We'll figure out how to work out in the phone booth. I'm sure it's something that can be learned working on the phone booth. Miss Charlie said, hey, Jill.
How you doing?
Miss Charlene, you at work still taking care of people? Man, shout out to her, because she's definitely one of those first responders that's making sure, people stay healthy. Yeah, Spriggs. Spriggs say if you got him to fight for a title, then you did your job in my eyes. 100%. They can say what they want to say. If your team got you to a world title, you could be the worst boxer known to mankind, but you obviously at some point you weren't, because you fought for one. And I ain't talking about the lame duck. You was just a guy they threw in there because they needed a tune-up before they fought. I'm talking about you really got to the point where you had a real relevant shot at winning a title. Then you got your job done. The job was done. The coaches, the promoters, your management team, everybody did their job. Everybody. Shout out to your whole team if that happens. And there is no irrelevant person on the team. If you got a guy that makes sure your gym bag is packed every day and you ain't got one of your hand wraps in there, shout out to him. If you got a guy that makes sure that the stool gets in the ring on time every single time of your career, shout out to him. If the guy catching the spit don't mind getting spit on his shirt because you focusing on fighting and the coach is focusing on training, shout out to him. There is no irrelevant person on your team. Your whole team is relevant. Because you take that guy away who don't want to get the spit on his shirt, the first thing you going to say when he gone, hey man, where the spit bucket in between rounds? So he's relevant too. I just like to say my piece on stuff because I don't mind saying my piece. I stand by anything I say. If I said it, then I meant what I said, so I can stand by it. If you could tell me something different, I don't mind hearing something different. Hey, Katie, what's going on? I don't mind hearing something different because that's an opinion that might change the way I think about something. You got too many boxing coaches that I see scared to get an opinion because they feel like this guy or some of his fans might get offended. How you somebody get offended about you having your opinion? You got to be crazy. It's my opinion. If you don't like it, I can hear you out. I can hear you tell me, hey, I don't agree with that because of this, this, and this. But I don't like the dude because he don't think I'm greatest. Man, that's some crazy stuff. That's some sucker shit. I mean, just to keep it 100. That's some sucker shit. I respect LeBron James as a hell of a ball player, but he's not my favorite ball player. But that don't mean if I had the chance to work with him, I'm not going to work with LeBron James. It's the same in boxing. Ain't no difference. What's up, Fox? I was just talking about you earlier, man. Telling people what I thought about Mikey Tez and the way that you train and how I think you've gotten a lot out of your sons and got them to where they are, especially Mikey. Because Mikey is now a contender. Mikey, if I'm not mistaken, Fox, correct me if I'm wrong, he's a top 20 fighter, might be higher. But these are the things that I think there is no bad coaching, there is no bad fighter. It's how do you train them and where did you ultimately get them to? Man, Miss Charlene, his dad doing good, man. He done after graduation, he done came down a lot, man. We where we supposed to be in our strike distance for when we gotta fight. He gonna fight at either 40 or 47. That's where I'm looking at. I'd love to be at 40, but we're gonna see the 40. I think we can get there, but we're gonna do it the right way. Man, Miss Charlene, I gotta get on him sometimes. Cause the dude don't like to eat candy, potato chips, and sodas. He like meals. Mashed potatoes, meatloaf, broccoli, biscuits. So I gotta tell him sometimes, man, ease up, man. Let some of that ride. But he's never mind getting the weight off. So he be like, Dad, don't complain to me because I like to eat. Because I don't never complain when it's time to get the weight off. Spriggs say, do you think with all the new technologies that made available now, fighters can train smart? I think the new technology can help you train more efficient. But to me, it's like a business. There's no replacing sweat equity. I like the treadmill. Don't get me wrong. And we use the treadmill. But every day I want him to touch God's green earth. Because there's something about putting that sweat equity in on that ground that's different from that treadmill. So in certain instances, I do think there are some things that you can use to train smarter or efficient. Sometimes adding the bike instead of the hard miles on the legs, I think is better. Where years ago, I didn't see a lot of fighters riding bikes. I lift weights. My son lifts weights. I'm never going to say weights are bad, but I know coaches that won't let their fighters touch 1 pound of weights. So, it depends on the philosophies of each coach. I think if you bring in the right people who know how to use the new technology correctly, then you can get a lot out of it. But a lot of times we bring in a dude that read the direction manual and he say he's a master of using a apparatus, and he don't know no more than you do, and your fighter starts to say, man, I'm fatiguing more since this dude came in camp. So it has to be a perfect marriage of what makes it usable or doable. That's how I look at it. You know, it had to be that perfect marriage of it that makes it work. But at the end of the day, ain't nothing gonna replace sweat equity. Getting out there and running, putting your hands on the ground and doing push-ups, all that stuff, nothing replaces it. But if something can make that or make an improvement on it, I'm all for it. But Charlene, I seen you laughing. Yeah, you know, man, these boys like to eat, man. They like meals. I almost wish you like potato chips and sodas, because that'll sweat off easier. But man, when Jaleel want to sit down, he want to sit down. He like that homemade meatloaf. He like that type of stuff. Do I think steam rooms are dangerous for a fighter cutting weight? No. And I'm going to tell you why I say no. If it's used properly. If you abuse anything, if you had your fighter running 30 miles a day, you're going to burn his legs out. But if you have him running 3 to 7, you got what you needed out of it. So I'm the same way with the steam rooms and saunas. I use them. I've always used them. I have no problem with them. Sometimes I use the sauna for cutting weight. Sometimes I use the steam room for relaxation. But I've learned how to moderate it properly. I've also learned how to use a swimming pool or a cold room to offset what I may get from the steam room. So it's all in how you use it and using it properly. I've heard fighters blame losses on my strength and conditioning coach put me in a sauna or a steam room. Nobody can put you in a sauna or a steam room. When you feel it zapping your body to the point of exhaustion, you tell your coach, hey man, this ain't working right now. You know your body better than anybody. If your car have a light come on in it, you gonna tell your car, you don't know what you're talking about. I've been driving you for years. That light don't mean nothing. If you do, it's gonna break down on the highway. Same way with your fighter. If he's telling you something ain't benefiting him, you got to look at it and stop it, because he's telling you how his body feels. You know, you can't say something is not good for you on one hand, or blame somebody because it was part of why you lost, but then you continue to do it in your personal life. That's hypocrisy. So I won't tell you that I'm against a steam room or anything like that when I actually use it. Sprints versus distance. Which do you think is more important? It's like I say this: neither is more important than the other. It's the same as eating an apple and a candy bar before you go into a sporting event like a triathlete. The candy bar, those are the sprints. That was for the immediate sugar rush burst of energy. The apple, that's the distance running. That's for the longevity energy. When done properly and done in conjunction with each other, you have beauty and grace. You can go all day long. When one is abused over the other one, it will show in one of those directions. If I over sprint, but I don't work on none of the distance, in the beginning, he going to start out like a house of fire, but then he going to gradually fade away. If I do everything over distance and no sprints, he could put himself behind the 8 ball to the point where he can't come back and win no matter how much endurance he has. So that's how I look at those two things. Man, once again, I have to definitely say I enjoy when people ask me questions. I think you can't say something about me if you haven't asked me. If a person asks me a question on live, I'm going to give them the answer. If a person called me or text me, I'm going to give them the answer. That's just how I am. If I have a question, if you on live and you say you're taking questions, I ask you the question and get your opinion. If I know your number or I DM you and ask you, can we talk about something? And you say, hey, here's my number, I'm going to ask you. The best way to gain knowledge is to ask questions. The best way to get rid of opinions is to ask directly from the person who you giving your statement about. That is what makes things great. Miss Charlotte, I ain't gonna never be smart as you. I ain't gonna never be smart as you. You be hitting me with stuff that I never thought about, man. In your questions, your comments, everything. So, I'm glad that you think that about me. And like I said, shout out to Malik. That's my guy. That's his mom, man. One of the great kids I like in this sport. When we talk about that, I like a lot of young fighters. I got a couple of them that I want to see do great things. Some of them fought my son. Some of them got wins against my son. Yes, sir.
Go back in the car.
Knock on the glass door and tell somebody to let you in. That was my grandson. He want to go back in the house. Some of the Mozzie from New York, we fought him. I want to see great things from Mozzie. I want to see him come out on the best side of the sport because his dad is working with him and trying to make the best of his son. And not to mention just that he's a young black man. I want to see success out of young black men. Malik, definitely. That's my guy. I got Gabriel Flores, good kid. He's one of the ones I want to see do great things for himself. Harley Medeiros, not just a great kid, he like my nephew. I love him like that, and I say that 'cause I can get. It's a couple of fighters that I can get on their butt like real uncle or father, and excuse me, and they accept it. And he's one of those. Harley Medeiros, New York, that's my guy. Horse out of New Jersey, that's my guy. Odie, DJ, everybody know. I love them kids, man. Love them to death. Want the best for them. Shout out to Odie, who's going to play college football. Shout out to DJ, who is going into the 11th grade. Look for him in 2 years to make some type of run at being a professional boxer. Over the years, I've just gotten great relationships with some very good young fighters. And some young fighters that, I can be honest with you, we will probably fight as pros. If their careers go the same way that I hope Jalil's go, we're going to fight. That don't mean I don't love them. It's the business part, the business side of the sport dictated that we were the best two in the position, and we fight. That's not nothing, but I'll help them get ready for a fight before we got to fight. Let me tell you one of the more underrated young fighters, and I say that because he hasn't gotten his national spotlight, and I know if he continues as an amateur, he will. I've always told his family since he was a little kid, I think he's a great young fighter, and at any day, if he ever came to me and said, "Coach, can you help me?" I would help him. Scooter, Dirk Davis. I think he's a great young fighter. I think he comes from a good family, very good people, mom, dad, the whole 9 yards. He got some good coaches with him now. Coach Boogie is working with him. Think that they're doing, a great thing with him. Hope that they, get everything that they work for in this sport. His father has done his thing with him, and I want to, definitely shout them out. But when you become friends with these young fighters, when you develop a relationship with them, from the amateurs all the way through, you know what their family went through to get to this point. They know what your family went through to get to this point. And so it's no accident that y'all become friends or develop a close relationship. That's just how it is. But that doesn't say that we won't have to fight. It's a business. I'm gonna say this. It may be some situations where I reach out to one of them. They got a belt and we trying to get a shot. Hey man, give me a shot. Give my son a shot. If it's possible to do, I hope they would do it. If it's possible for me to do it, I would say, I know if we get that call, we do the same thing. Look how many fighters done fought each other that was best of friends. Simon Brown, Maurice Blocker, like brothers. And they fought each other. They had to do what they had to do because it's the job. I don't hate you, I love you, but I got to do my job. So, that's just my taking opinion on it. I hope some of the guys that I fought, as far as my son, reach greatness and my son reach greatness, and they can both share some of the $1 million purses and say, we made it. We got to the point where we could take care of our families. So that's my whole thing on it. You know, shout out to everybody who asked me questions and everybody on here. Until next time, I'll probably be on here later this evening when we train again. We do twice a day. But I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Stay healthy, stay safe, and remember, give people the roses while they can smell them. Because when they can't smell them no more, those roses are worthless. We out.